Hi, it's James in Miami, your Brickell Realtor. I'm your friend on the inside. We all know that Miami's been one of the hottest cities in the nation right now, but specifically Brickell has been garnering a lot of attention. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. I think people know what Brickell is. People can look up other videos on Brickell and get an idea or a sense of what it's like. You know, Brickell is one of the cities that has a lot of glitz and glamour, and there's a lot of attraction to the city. But I definitely want to do something a little bit different, a little bit off the cuff. Instead, I wanted to let you see what it's really like living in the city. So come be my passenger this morning as I take my daughter to school. That's something that many of you would do if you decide to move to the Brickell area. This will give you a play-by-play of what it's really like. So my apologies if this video is a little bit long. I wanted to do this video with no interruptions and no breaks so you get a real sense of what the timing is like. Alright, so I've got the camera set up in the car, and this will give you a bird's eye view on what it's like driving through the Brickell area. I'm going to be taking my daughter to school in the morning, so you'll get to see that firsthand. So right now I'm turning south onto Brickell Bay Drive. It's 7:25 in the morning on November 3rd. We left a little bit late. We tend to leave at 7:15 or so, so we're leaving 10 minutes late this morning, but it's a Monday morning, and with Brickell, you can see that it's not overrun with traffic. Yes, it does get busy, but when you compare it to places like New York and Manhattan, you can see it's quite calm. So now we're turning right onto 12th Street, which will turn into 13th. You'll notice a barber's pole coming up on the right. This is a barber I go to. Everything in Brickell is within walking distance, and this is just another example of that. Okay, so to give you an idea, when I pulled out of the parking garage, I turned right onto Brickell Bay Drive. Then we turned right again onto 12th Street, and now we're going to be crossing Brickell Avenue. We're at the stoplight right now, and again, I've decided not to make any cuts in this video so you get a real sense of how long things take. But let me pull up a map to give you a better sense of where we were and where we are now. We came down Brickell Bay Drive, turned right on 12th Street, and now we sit at the stoplight at Brickell Avenue. Since we need to pass some time at this stoplight, let me give you a little more context. My daughter goes to school in The Roads. She attends St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church. So let me explain The Roads. The Roads is a highly desirable suburb that's adjacent to Brickell. The Roads is probably the closest suburb. Let me bring up a map to give you a better idea. Here's the map. On the right is where we started, and on the left is our destination. Brickell is in pink on the right. The Roads is in yellow on the left. And Little Havana is in green above the Roads. Alright, we're moving again. Let me give you a lay of the land as we're crossing over Brickell Avenue. You have Dirty French, a high-end steakhouse to your right. You can barely see it with that black awning. We're coming up to South Miami Avenue. This white building on the right is called The View. It has a dermacare office as well as an urgent care center on the ground floor. Of course, it also has restaurants such as Piola if you want to grab some pizza or catch a game. On the right, you'll notice this colorful building. This is the SLS Brickell. There are two SLS buildings in Brickell. This one's the SLS and the other one is the SLS Lux. This one has a popular restaurant in it, Rosa Negra. It's a fine dining Latin American restaurant with fire shows and luxury vibes. So if that's your thing, you know where to go. We just crossed over South Miami Avenue. And as you'll see to the right, we have a school here. This is Southside Elementary School. That's the public school for Brickell residents, the elementary school. Now we're coming up to Southwest 1st Avenue. Sometimes your GPS will call it Kagoshima Way, which throws people off. On the left is a shopping center with a supermarket, dry cleaners, liquor store, and so forth. And on the right, this white and green building, it's called Brickell First. It's a rental-only apartment building. I spent a few years in that building when I first moved to Brickell. All right, now we're passing 2nd Avenue. We'll be coming to this roundabout, and this roundabout is pretty much the edge of Brickell and the beginning of the Roads. Once we go under this overpass, you'll see that we have a school to the right. This is a KLA, a private school. And then we have Triangle Park to the right here. It's got a basketball court. It's a nice little area to take the kids or what have you. We're coming up to a stop sign. We're going to make a left onto 11th Street. As we make this turn, we'll quickly run into another stop sign. This is 5th Avenue. If you turn right down 5th, you'll be able to turn right again to get onto Interstate 95. This street is essentially the border between The Roads and Little Havana. The Roads is on the left while Little Havana is on the right. If you recall that map I showed earlier, this is where we are. All right, so we've just turned left into The Roads. This is a very nice suburb. Again, it's very close to the city. Here you have single-family homes that give you a bit more room. Brickell's nice, but if you're somebody who doesn't want to be in a high-rise, this may be a better area for you. Again, it's close to all of the excitement of the city, but far enough away to still have a normal life. The Roads is a highly desirable area. With these single-family homes, you have the space to raise a family. It's just an incredible area. It's well maintained and overall just pleasant. So I'll stop talking now so you can see it for yourself. We're coming up to a stop sign where we'll be turning left onto 9th Avenue. It's the day after Halloween, so people still have decorations up. In front of us, this property is for sale. It's a 2-story, single-family home with an enclosed fence and pool in the backyard. If you want more details on this specific property, let me know. All right, we're coming up to St. Peter and Paul. This is a Catholic school that my daughter goes to. For me personally, I love the school. The school's been great for us. And as you can see, it took 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to get here from Brickell. Virtually no traffic. And although we're in the city, it's fairly simple. It's headache free. Again, I decided not to make any cuts, so if you're considering moving down here and you have children, this is really what it looks like in the mornings for the morning drop-off. While we have some time, let me put a map up to kind of give you the route and show you how we got here. The school is only 2 miles away from our starting point, just to give you an idea of the proximity. For us, my daughter's been in the school 2 years. We love the school. There's a high sense of community in the school. Last weekend, for example, we had what was called trunk or treat, where everyone could come to the school and do some trick-or-treating and hang out, socialize, and have a good time. We do several events like that. So again, there's a high sense of community at this school, and we appreciate that. Again, this school, St. Peter and Paul, is in an area of Miami called The Roads. The Roads is right next to Brickell. The Roads is, again, one of those areas that surround Brickell. It's probably the closest suburb to Brickell. And in this area, you can find single-family homes, something that you're not going to be able to find in Brickell. Brickell is essentially high-rise central, so if you're not looking to live in a high-rise, this may be a better area for you. There are advantages to living in Brickell. Everyone comes out to you, but you do sacrifice space. Living in an area like this, you have much more space. And it may be essential if you have a growing family. If you're considering looking for a home in Miami that's close to the action while far enough away, this may be a good spot for you. We've been doing this drop-off for a couple of years now. Everything is orderly, it's quick, there's never any problems. We appreciate the police presence. We feel like this is a solid, safe environment for our child. Notice that orange in front of us. That's something you'll see in the roads. People are renovating and modernizing with all the equity that's built up over the last few years. All right, so now I'm leaving the roads. I'm going out a slightly different way than I came in. I'm going to be taking a left here onto 7th Avenue. This gives you a great passenger view of some of the homes in the roads. Again, this is an exceptional neighborhood. I'll try to keep the talking to a minimum so you can pay attention to the neighborhood. Yeah, in Miami, we like these roundabouts instead of speed bumps. It keeps traffic flowing while making sure everyone doesn't just scream through the neighborhoods. If you see anything out here that sparks your interest, or if you have questions about living in the Roads or in Brickell, let me know. If you want to know which properties are available, I'm happy to help. Now, we're getting towards the end of the road. You can see Brickell and the high rises in the background. At this stop sign, we're going to turn right onto 11th Street, which is where we came in. This is the street that borders Little Havana and the Roads. Keep in mind that the Roads is bigger than what I've shown you today. There are several streets that we could have turned down, but the object of this video was to give you a real-world view of regular tasks such as dropping off your child at school. As an added benefit, you were able to get a sense of Brickell and the Roads in the morning. The Roads is a fantastic area to raise a family. You have the space that you need, and it's not as crazy as the city. All right, we're going to veer off to the right, and this stuff may look familiar to you. We have Triangle Park on the left, as well as the KLA private school. So if anyone has any questions or considerations on the Roads, feel free to reach out. I can help you find exactly what you're looking for. All right, this is the roundabout that I told you. So we're exiting the Roads now and essentially entering Brickell. I'm going to go back a slightly different way. I'm going to veer off to the right here. And I like going this way. I just feel like it's simpler, it's easier. There tends to be less traffic. Sometimes the traffic builds up on 13th Street, plus there's a school there. So I tend to go this way. There's a school here too, but the traffic tends to flow a little bit easier. And plus, I like to go this way because I get a chance to look at the bay in the morning. I like looking at the bay in the morning. It's a good start of the day for me. I enjoy it. On the right, you may notice this coral rock wall. Inside that is Simpson Rockland Hammock Park. It's an 8-acre park and nature preserve at the edge of Brickell. It has nature trails and picnic tables, and when you're inside there, you completely forget that you're in the city. It's pretty remarkable. All right, this roundabout brings us to South Miami Avenue. So we'll go through here, and this brings us back to Brickell Avenue. And once we go through this light, we'll be on Brickell Bay Drive. Maybe I can put a map together to kind of trace out where I've been. I know it's a little bit difficult to understand where I'm driving if you don't know the area. So maybe I can put something like that together. All right, this is the route that we're going to be taking along Brickell Bay Drive once we go through the stoplight and cross Brickell Avenue. I like seeing people active. In Brickell, you always see something going on. You see people walking, jogging. You'll see cyclists. You'll see people on scooters. But as you can tell, the traffic really hasn't been crazy this morning. And this is just a regular Monday morning. Again, this is November 3rd. I left my house at approximately 7:25. It's roughly 7:40 right now. Maybe 7:45 or so. So round trip took me less than 25 minutes or so. I decided to go with no cuts or interruptions, but sitting at a light is way different when you're in the car and looking around and listening to the radio as opposed to watching a video. I hope this is bearable. Even me narrating this thing, I'm getting impatient at these lights. All right, we're crossing over Brickell Avenue. Not going to lie, the guy on the scooter, he scared me a little bit. I didn't see him coming, but it is what it is. You got to love this guy on the scooter. He was able to move along pretty quickly. Frankly, I didn't expect him to move so fast. Now we're going through Brickell Bay Drive. You see that we've got a view of the bay. I don't know, it just makes me feel good. I love coming this way. It's a great start to my morning. It's hard to complain when you live in Brickell and have access to this view. For me, this is paradise. We're so close to the water's edge. You can go for a morning run. You can take in the sun. I never take for granted how fortunate I am to live in Brickell. It looks like someone was trying to pull out while this van was trying to turn in. They had to take some evasive maneuvers. In the distance, you'll see Brickell Key over to the right. That's a man-made island with a bridge connecting Brickell Key to Brickell. That building all the way to the right is the Mandarin Oriental. That building will be demolished and replaced with the new Mandarin Oriental Hotel and Residence. That's going to be a super tall tower with over 80 floors. This white building in front of us is the Jade. It's known to house celebrities and other famous residents. As I make this right turn, you'll see this red awning on the left. That's LPM or Le Petit Maison. It's a fabulous French restaurant. In front of us and to the right, with the red on the bottom, that's the Mark. It's one of the early Brickell condo towers. It has a fun restaurant inside it facing the water called Crazy About You. I'm your friend on the inside, so I may as well tell you where everything is, right? I mentioned earlier that I left one way and came back home a slightly different way. This is an overlay showing you the exact routes I took. Red is on the way to school and blue is a return trip. That's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope you found this beneficial. I wanted to give you a glimpse into real-life Brickell living. Please let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see. I'll leave my contact information in the description, and if you're considering a move to Miami or a move to Brickell or to the Roads, let me know. I'll help you find exactly what you're looking for.